In the early years of my marriage, money was rather tight, I would say. And we lived on a small budget. And much of the money that we earned each month went into the rent of our little house where we lived at the time. And I remember one of the evenings that I opened the fridge door and realized actually we didn't have a lot of fruit and veg left. And I prayed this little prayer: God, would you please provide us with some more fruit and vegetables? Not long after that, I heard a knock on the door, and I walked to the door. By the time I got there and I opened, there was nobody there. But what I did find was this big plastic bag full of fresh fruit and vegetables. They were the kind of vegetables that I would normally not buy in the supermarket because they were too expensive. And I was just so grateful for God providing once again for us as a family.
What I love about your story there, Bridget, is the way that the fruit and veg that God provided was of such great quality, more than you would normally have been able to afford. And it was like a double blessing, like the generosity of God. I think about the wedding at Cana and the way that Jesus provided 180 gallons of wine for everybody, which was really abundant, really excessive. It's almost like he's giving people a double blessing. He's giving them more than they need. And, you know, the kind of big-hearted nature of God, the celebratory heart of God there in his provision. I mean, it was kind of almost unnecessary how much Jesus provided there. And you think about the story of the feeding of the 5,000. There are 12 baskets of leftovers. It's almost as if Jesus made too much when he did the miracle. And also the way that he got his friends involved in that miracle. Because obviously, you know, someone provided that fruit and veg for you. And so God's provision, God's generosity came through somebody else. He inspired someone to do that for you. So we are part of the miracles that God weaves through this world. Those stories of God's provision remind me of an Old Testament story about Hagar in Genesis 21. She and her son ran out of water, and when God spoke to her, he showed her a well. He gave her water and encouragement and a way forward. I'm sure that this provision that God provided for Bridget and her husband Nathan not only gave them food, but encouragement as well, because it assured them that God had heard their prayers and was on their side. And this is similar to when Jesus feeds the 5,000. He involves other people. He has the lunch from the little boy and uses that. He invites his friends to go out and to share the food. And that's what happens. We are involved in the generosity of God, so that as we give out, so we're blessed. It's not only those who receive that are blessed, it's those who share. The other thing about all this is that Jesus looks at the crowd with the 5,000 and he knows that they're hungry. Perhaps he himself is hungry. And we find the story that we've read about Jesus and the miraculous catch of fish for Peter. He understands that Peter and his friends need to eat. That's why they're out fishing. And so he understands their needs and he provides for them out of his generosity.